We're here at the Bisbee Mill site in Chesterfield. There used to be an old lumber mill here, and so it's a wide open space. The mill is all gone now, and we're certainly looking at the area for invasives. We have quite a bit out here: autumn olive and coltsfoot and multiflora rose, and many of the typical players, even knotweed. And one of the things I noticed, those things can just they come either from the wind or distributed by birds and occasionally people. But I've also been noticing some crab apples and some otter species that out here in a rural area you wouldn't expect so much. And I'm thinking they came here because they were brought here by people as like yard waste and have since continued to grow. And as I was walking, we kind of approached this area, and I was looking at the vegetation up there, and also just the profile, and there's some aspect of it that just looked a little like fill of some kind. I was curious as to what's going on up there, and are there invasives hiding there? So we're going to go take a look at that and see what that area is all about and see what we find. Oh, interesting. Yeah. And sure enough, we certainly have found invasives. And one thing I noticed is a big trunk were dumped here. We've got a good patch of garlic mustard here in flower. Not a good patch, of course, but multiflora rose. Here's our autumn olive. And the ground I'm walking on here, it's a little hard to tell right here, but maybe we'll see it up there. It feels not very solid, not like it's been really here for 100 years or more, or that it's all that natural. There's pockets where it's almost like air underneath, where I can feel it's very uneven, and it's feeling like fill. So I could just imagine people coming in, Saturday morning with their run, and you back your vehicles in here, and they dump it off. And over time, it builds up here. And then maybe they cover it, maybe they don't, but people keep driving on it, and and they keep going. And this is actually built out. If we look at these trees, you'll notice here that this is not the normal bottom of a large tree like this. They tend to flare out. We see that on this hemlock as well. These things look like they're just stuck in the dirt, and basically they've been buried. And that's probably why they're dead. They're dead because they've been buried with 12, 15 feet of soil and debris. And that has basically suffocated them. We have some coltsfoot here. So these little look like the dandelion seed heads, but a little difference. And this is kind of an interesting example as we look at this flower. Notice that there really aren't any leaves associated with it. Coltsfoot flowers before the leaves come out. It's very much like a dandelion composite flower. Here we get a good look at the flower, but notice this stem is really quite different. And if I can see that, it's kind of got these little leafy scales kind of thing. But here it is growing separate, and then later these leaves next to it appear, and you can see how that looks like a colt's foot. Give you a little background. But it looks like a horse's foot, and a colt's foot's very silvery and hairy on the backside. And so the flowers come up early to do their business of spreading seeds. Colt's foot spreads, amazingly, as you can see, that, really puts out a lot of seed, and that will just blow away. And it spreads by roots as well. They're fairly delicate roots, so it's very hard to get all of it. So the key thing with colt's foot is to start as soon as you can. As an example, I recently built a house, and to build the driveway, I had stone material, stone dust, and the larger particles and the smaller ones brought from a local quarry, which of course was just loaded with coltsfoot. So along with the stone, I also got free seed. Sweet. I recognized this right away, and as soon as the driveway was in, there's no house, but every day I'm there working. Every time I see even to this day. Every time I would see a coltsfoot, I would just break that off. I would take it out, tear it out, and I did it every day. So now it's just 3 years later. I have only pulled about 8 or 10 this year, and a little bit up back. So you have to kind of, what got 30 feet or 40 feet that way? It's important to get started early. Garlic mustard, which also is an incredible spreader of seeds and survivalist, does release some chemicals that inhibit the growth of other plants around it. It's something that is, to a certain extent, manageable. You can certainly recognize it. There's a garlicky smell to the leaves here, and some people like to make pesto with it and add it to that. We didn't really find that down below in the more open area where the mill was. Really, this seems to be concentrated right here. With just a few of us working, we could just come in and just pull this out. And if we can get rid of this, the seed's going to last a number of years. We know I'll have to keep coming back. But if I can stop all of that seed from this year, and they take a couple of years before they put up a taller stalk. They have so they're a biennial, or they call it a long-lived biennial. So they can go a couple of years before they put up the flowering stalk. But getting rid of at least the flowering and fruiting stalk means that there will be no seed added, and we will just come back each year. And I just grab it and pull it, and if I can get the roots and everything, that's terrific. You know you have a problem here. Don't bag these and take them somewhere else. You're welcome to put them in a trash bag and leave them in the sun, but I mostly do a lot of damage. I kind of just make them bleed, and I just don't think, I know there's research that suggests these can continue to mature and perhaps form seeds and later similar kinds of things, but I find it hard to believe if it's that beaten up and separated from all the tissue that brings the food and water that it really will be successful. And you know you have a problem here, so leave your invasives in place. But you can see I can go quite quickly in here and just really remove these. And if they happen to break, they happen to break. If you can come back later in the season, you will find they will have put up a smaller stalk, but at least you've reduced it. And I just beat it up and leave it. So I could go pretty quickly through that patch. And if we stop these all right here, they're never going to get into that nice land out there. So get your invasives before they become a problem.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Manny. I'm a student at Westfield State University, and I'm also an intern. I got the chance to be an intern for Wildlife in Westfield River this summer, and I'm here with Meredith and my other fellow interns. And today we are looking at garlic mustard at this property in Beckett. Garlic mustard was introduced at this site via some fill dirt. It has really spread on this property. You can see in the distance all those tiny little white flowers. That is garlic mustard. It has a distinct smell. It has a garlicky mustardy smell, and you can find it. It's very common here in Massachusetts. You can probably find it alongside the roads, and it has a distinct leaf as well. So if you look at the leaves of the garlic mustard, they look like kidneys. As you can see, there is a lot of garlic mustard here, but we are not going to let this deter us from getting rid of these, from controlling these. Eventually, we are going to come back, deal with these, and make sure these do not spread their seeds. Today, we are just going to kind of contain the spread of garlic mustard and just learn a little bit about how far it has spread. We may not be able to eradicate it completely, but we are going to do our best to contain it. Hey. Now we are heading to Mountain Meadow Brook, which flows into the wild and scenic Westfield River. Unfortunately, we had discovered the garlic mustard here. You can see those tiny plants which are like 1 or 1.5 feet off the ground with those tiny little flowers. That is garlic mustard. So we are going to just find wherever the garlic mustard spread is and just go upwards from there. So unfortunately, we have found the garlic mustard here. We are right alongside the brook. The brook is on your left right now. And the reason why this garlic mustard might have made it here is because after the tree uprooted, there was just bare soil. So some of the seeds probably landed here, and there was no competition for them. And now they have grown at this location. Another invasive which is in the adjacent properties over here is the multiflora rose. You can see it here. It has thorns just like a rose would do, but this rose grows to be very tall. more than other roses that we find in the area. And this is a bully. It takes over the resources really fast and really tries to beat all the other species in the area. So we really want to make sure that we control the spread of this multiflora rose as well. Now we are just going to pull it out. We want to make sure that we just don't rip it out. We want to make sure that we also get all the root system as well. So slowly pull it out. Make sure we get all the roots. Welcome back, everyone. After approximately 3 hours, we have gotten rid of the garlic mustard, which had flowers. Those were the most dangerous ones because those were about to spread their seeds, about 5,000 seeds or 2,000 seeds if you want to go to the lower end. There's still some tiny ones left, but we will worry about them on another day. You can see here, these are the 3 garbage bags. The number of plants we ripped out today is in the thousands. We are proud of the work we did today, and hopefully next year there will be more native species thriving in this area. Ta-da! So right now we have just left the site where we were just clearing garlic mustard. And now before we leave, we just want to make sure that we brush off our clothes, our shoes, because our shoes, all this area over here, they might have some seeds from the garlic mustard. So just take a brush and just brush these shoes off. You can see here, there's probably a small petal from one of the garlic mustard. So we want to make sure we do not carry any of this with us to our cars, to our homes, because they grow very fast.